Hello, this is David Aiken, your conversion rate optimization expert. Thank you so much for the opportunity to review your website. We're going to go through the homepage as requested from top to bottom, and I'll be making recommendations on how to increase your conversions. Please don't worry about trying to keep up and take notes. As you may have noticed, I've included a bullet pointed document that's kind of supposed to act as a guide, but also as a checklist so you can make sure you hit each of these items as you're implementing them. So with that being said, I should say this video is intended to provide you a lot more detail as far as examples of what it should look like, explaining the background as to why these things work, um, and to just give you a better overall idea about conversion rate optimization and some of the tools you might use, so that you're better prepared to work on your site going forward in the future. Okay. So let's start with our hero shot. That's a screen you see before you scroll in any direction. Um, it's this screen job to help people understand what you do, why they do it with you, and what they should do next. Or in this case, right, what you sell, why they should buy it from you, and the next step that you want them to take. There's a few components. There's the main hero shot messaging and imagery, or in this case, a video. There's our header, and there's our top bar. Okay. Um, there is a very particular way your header needs to be laid out to maximize interaction with your top bar. By the way, I was super happy to see that your top bar does have a discount in it rather than free shipping. Due to Amazon's Prime program, everybody expects free shipping now. If you don't offer it, they're going to go find some other preservative, wow, slash deodorizer to purchase on Amazon or another platform. Okay. So to get them up here and to read that, I'll introduce how we handle free shipping here in a minute. To get them up there, we can't use a mobile header. This design is really a mobile design because on a mobile device, you've got like no room to work with. Well, somewhere along the line, some designers thought, oh, wouldn't it be fun to have the mobile header on a desktop site? And while it doesn't necessarily look bad, it does affect our interaction with our top bar. So the first thing to understand is there's two ways people are going to interact with your top bar. One's called the F pattern, the other is called the Z pattern, and they are based largely on how old your visitor is. Older people like me, I'm nearly 50 now, we're going to use the F pattern because we were raised actually holding our documents, our newspapers, our magazines, our letters, whatever it was, we learned to read line by line. So we look here in the upper left hand corner, we come across the top, we then go to the next line, back and down. Okay. Your younger visitors, so we're talking really millennials and younger that were raised with the internet as the main source of media in their life. They are used to these large blocks of content. Okay. So they're going to look here, go straight across the top, come down at an angle, and back across the bottom. Okay. They both start in that upper left hand corner because that's how we were taught to read. It's just naturally where we look. So that's where we want our branding to go. So as they work their way through our ad sets, they get reconfirmation that they've hit, or I should say confirmation that they've hit on the right spot. Okay. The reason I'm explaining all of this is it's really important to understand why it affects the top bar. Okay. So if we make our top bar a bright contrasting color and have negative space between our logo and our other content, whatever it is, whether it be navigation items, store checkout items, my eye's going to come across. It's going to pull my attention. I'm going to come up here and read your offer. Okay. So your bar should be a bit brighter. Maybe this hover green. You see how it lightens up there. Move your logo over here and put your cart over on this side. I I was hired to do the homepage only, but I'm really going to recommend that you maybe even consider losing your catalog page, which would normally be called shop, especially with just two items, and make this a single page landing page. Um, it will present a lot better. I won't be expecting there to be a lot of additional pages like your about pages and our story and all that stuff. Landing pages are just that. It's one page dedicated to selling. Um, that's all I'm going to say on it. I can give you a lot of guidance and information on either how to do that or on fixing your sales funnel from your homepage through the shopping process, just let me know and we can talk about pricing for that. Okay. So logo goes here, content goes over here, top bar gets brightened. And I was super happy to see that you're offering an offer. There's just three components to a good offer. One is a reason, two is a compelling discount, and three is an actual expiration date. Um, we don't have a reason. We have sort of an expiration date, but I'll bet you if I go here tomorrow, it's going to say today again. Okay. So we want to say something. And by the way, I'm going to give you a lot of content ideas as we're going through this, but I'm not a copywriter. Never have I claimed to be a copywriter, and never will I. These are just ideas. If you like them, go ahead and use them. Um, if you want to change it up, feel free to do so. You're not going to hurt my feelings because I realize this is not my main skill set. But I would say something like, get prepared for spring, comma, first time buyers save 20% through March 30th or whatever date makes sense. And then you've just got to update that date periodically. Okay. So arrange everything in your header that way, and then make your header sticky. I'm going to see if I have an example of a sticky header open. I think this one has it. Um, their header's transparent at this point. As I scroll down, do you see how it keeps their header in front of me? Now, I wouldn't do this if we go to a single page. If we're going to keep our products on its own page, I would have or I'm sorry, not their name, your name. I'd have Fresh Cubes, and then I'd have shop, and I'd probably create at least an about page to make the site a little more robust in your visitors' minds. Okay. But make it sticky. You may even consider making your header transparent when you're showing the video so that it shows a little more of the video on the page. Okay. The video is good. The things I don't love on it are these sections where she's talking. Um, if we can go edit, I watched the whole video and there's a lot of parts in it that really make sense. Like we could have her showing the fridge like that. We can have the whole first section. But it's best that they're not talking because then I'm paying as much attention, wondering what they're saying, as I am to your messaging. And we don't want that. Okay. So anything focused in on the product is good. Showing how it works is good. Um, any good video editor should be able to take that video and chop it down into usable pieces where we're not staring at them talking to us, wondering what they're saying. Any distraction's bad for conversions. Okay. Then on our messaging standpoint, remember, this is why they buy from us. Okay. We're saying what it is. Um, we want to say why you need it there. The way that's going to look is three headlines. One's called a super headline. That is these little bursts of information with a pipe between them. The pipe is the little line. Okay. What I would say is something like absorbs harmful gases, deodorizes, and preserves fruits and vegetables. Okay. Right there, as I'm sight reading these or reading before I realize I've even begun, I'm getting three important informations about what your product's going to do for me. Okay. In your headline, this larger font, you're going to say something like the all natural way to keep your fruits and vegetables fresh, crisp, and ready to eat. Okay. Now I've learned it's all natural, and it's reiterating to me that it's going to keep them fresh, crisp, and ready to eat, which anybody who buys produce knows of the problem you're trying to address. Okay. Our subheadline, so this is super, this is headline, this is subheadline, is meant to repeat the offer. So we're going to say fresh produce is coming or something like that. Dash first time buyers save 20% through March 30th or whatever date you want to set it to. We then got a call to action button. If you keep your shop, you're going to have a button like this that says shop and save. If you go to a single page, you're just not going to have it at all. Okay. Across the bottom, I want you to add three credibility builders, but I want them to show above the fold. The fold is this bottom right here of your page. It's an old newspaper term that means where the newspaper goes from the visible content to the underneath content that's part of the stack of newspapers. But anyway, we're going to use this to give this information, but we want them to see it without scrolling. Okay. And what would I say here? Well, after I went and added to the cart and worked my whole way through, I saw you have free shipping. Way too much work. So a little shop, a little shipping truck with free shipping, a little sign with satisfaction guarantee, and then either 100% money back guarantee or safe and secure checkout. Okay. Sometimes this could also be easy returns if you accept them. Some people balk at that and at money back guarantee. But I would argue with you, what would you rather? Two sales a day with no returns or guarantee, or 10 sales a day with one coming back? Um, it comes down to your business decision, but we do want to make visitors as comfortable as possible. In the hierarchy of how your content's going to be interacted with and read by your customers, the least effective way is paragraph text. We just don't like to read that. Now, it has to be on there many times for SEO reasons, and I'll show you how to deal with that. The second most read type of content is a headline with bullet points below it. The most effective is an icon with a short description. This was really discovered by early media, so your magazines and newspapers. Early on, if you were to open up one of the first editions of a magazine, you're going to see these columns of paragraph text. It looks very different than a magazine does now because they felt like their customers were paying to read their content, so they're going to provide them as much content as they could fit on the page. However, they suffered what's called a high churn rate or a high cancellation rate. Okay. That high cancellation rate caused them to kind of get panicky and start running experiments. Today, we call experiments split testing, A B testing, or multivariate testing. The whole concept really easy to understand, though. This is a real experiment with fake numbers. Okay. Um, what they did is they sent out 1,000 magazines in their current format, which remember was just paragraph text. Then they sent out 1,000 magazines in their new format, which was paragraph text plus a picture that was relevant to the article. They then polled their customers. And what they learned is that those customers that received the version with the picture had a much higher read rate, or they were much more likely to have read that article than those that didn't. And honestly, it makes sense if you think about it. As humans, we are drawn to images at a much greater rate than we are written text, right? Where they're kind of like visual magnets to us. The second we see it, we look at it. We also absorb information many times faster from um, from pictures than we do written text. We can look at a picture and understand what's going on, or at least a pretty good idea of what's going on instantly, where written text is kind of a chore for us to pull that information out of. So what would happen is your visitors would, or the subscribers would open up to the new article format and immediately look at that picture. That picture made them more interested in the paragraph text. So it increased the read rate, or the rate at which people read that content, significantly. Which, when they read the article, they found more value in the magazine. So they were less likely to cancel, which reduced churn rate, which kept money coming in and kept the magazines in business. So we get down the road a little bit, and they decide to try another experiment. This time it's the new format, which picture is picture plus paragraph text. And by the way, by this point, newspapers, everybody's using it. And it's even true up today. If you open up an article right now, I bet you if there's a picture there, also willing to bet you look at that picture first. Okay. So we get down the road. Now they decide to test that new format versus a new experiment, which is picture plus caption plus paragraph text. This is before captions became photographer credits due to all the lawsuits. They used to actually be a quick sentence explaining what was happening in the picture. That version won out because people would open up to the article, they'd look at the picture. They'd then read the caption because that wasn't a large commitment, right? It was simple. One sentence. That sentence helped them understand the picture more, which drove more interest in the article, which increased read rate, which reduced churn or cancellation rate, which helped keep magazines in business to today. We'll see how they do over the next few years. Okay. So that's why picture and icon or icon and short description is so important. In fact, so much so that the next row on your website is going to include them. Okay. Right now, we're jumping right into a product, but we haven't really proven ourselves yet in our visitors' minds. Okay. Um, we're just saying it's nature's preservative and deodorizer, then learn how. But I can't really learn how. If I click the button, it's taking me to buy. Um, so we're going to drop all of that. Then the next row is going to be a feature and benefits row, which is going to look like the ingredients row here on eCOA. Okay. Utilizing icons and short descriptions. This is how we handle content when it has to be good for search engines. This site is what search engines and a small percentage of your visitors like to read. This is what humans want to see. We want to absorb that information with as little effort as possible. Okay. So create a headline that says something like tested, patent protected. We're going to absorb that row from further down the page into this section that'll be more compelling. Okay. So we're talking this little blurb here. Remember, people don't love to read this kind of content. So we're going to put it into a row like this. And then we're going to give the great features and benefits. So an icon with lab tested, one with 37 verified patent claims, one with delays ripening, one with retains nutrients, increases freshness, then in parentheses below that, up to 10 to 14 days. Eliminates odor, saves 600 plus per year, and all natural, eco-friendly. Okay, so I'm absorbing all that great information, and right before you hit me with the products. Okay, the next row is going to be our product row. Excuse me for that, but I don't want them separated the way they are. Okay, I want the 2-pack and I want the 4-pack next to each other so I can compare them. Take that image down so it all fits easily within one row. We're just a little over right now. But remember, we've also got to create room for all of this. So we don't need these giant images of our picture as much as we need them comparing the features and benefits. Okay. So we're going to shrink that down a little and we're going to combine our information on this side. We're going to bring the 4-pack up and put the information here. We can also put the information down below. Okay. The reason we want it on the same row is because we want them to compare value. One thing I'd recommend is that you switch these around. 6 month supply sounds a lot better than 2-pack. It sounds like a much better value. Okay. From there, we're saying buy now on the 2-pack. We haven't even told them what it costs, right? So we're going to go 6 month supply in parentheses and a little smaller font. It's a 2-pack. Okay. We're going to put the original price in light gray with the slash through it, the sales price in black. Okay. I recommend you always have one of the two products on sale. In this case, it's generally traditionally right to put the 4-pack on sale, the larger pack as a value. Okay. So we got price, we got sell price in gray, original price in gray with a slash through it, sales price in black. If you have 5-star ratings, stick those 5 stars right underneath that. It's a form of social proof. If you were to ask me, were those things important 15 years ago, I would have told you no. However, the customer base you were selling to was different. My generation, we're talking 45, 50-year-old plus, we were taught to trust marketing messaging. If it was on TV, in the newspaper, in a magazine, whatever, we believed it. Call it global, call it naive, whatever. It's how we were raised. It's why magazines sold so many x-ray glasses to young men in the past, right? We just kind of believed it. That's in stark contrast to your younger purchasers, so millennials and younger. They were raised in a deceptive world. They were raised in a world where marketing messaging and even the news is just as likely to lie to them as to tell the truth. So they look for third-party verification or what we call social proof. Those 5 stars, believe it or not, are a form of social proof, even though you have complete control over them. It's just psychologically how it works. Okay. So if I can compare the 2-pack and the 4-pack, I see that the per item cost in the 4-pack is lower than the 2-pack. And overall, your pricing is affordable. It's not like we're priced out of anything. I'm going to end that this one's on sale. I'm going to be more encouraged to buy the 4-pack. If that's in fact what you want them to do. I assume so, or you wouldn't have it. Okay. Um, and then mark that 4-pack as bestseller. Okay. That'll just make them feel like they are part of the pack in purchasing, which is a major psychological and emotional um, component for your customers. Okay. So we got our product row. We've then got our video row, which I'm really happy with the video. It's kind of like a nice little infomercial, well produced. So leave that how it is. We don't need this row anymore because we've used it. The how to use row itself is perfectly fine. It's just straightforward directions. You might put step 1, step 2, step 3. It'll just make this look a little more refined. Then you're good to go. This row, I want some pretty significant changes. Okay. We've got this weird scroll, which is breaking up my attention. Um, and I may be getting pumped, but we're not giving them enough information to decide to do either of these things. Okay. What we want to do is utilize this row to emphasize the abilities of the filter. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this 4 weeks in refrigerator the width of these two together. Okay. To do that, you're going to have these 4 vegetables grouped together here, these 4 vegetables grouped together next to it, and this over the top of the whole row. Okay. I want this interaction. So the with fresh cube, without fresh cube, I want that to be over on this side, and then move your grapefruit fruits and vegetables over to this side. Okay. That's going to give you a greater visual impact with what's happening here. Also, my attention gets drawn to this, and I'm not really even paying attention over here when this is pretty compelling content as to why they should buy your product. We will have already handled this up at the top with our 4 products. So the last row should be a final call to action, which can have a stack of fresh cubes by it as an image. And then we're going to repeat our super headline, our sub headline, our credibility builders, and then our call to action button is simply going to zip them. Well, if you leave it a multi-page, it's going to take them to the shop page. If it becomes a single page landing page, it's just going to zip them up here to the product row where they can then decide to buy. Okay. From there, I went and did a page speed analysis, and we graded a C, just going from San Francisco. Just picked one of the U.S. areas. Now, some of these stats aren't so bad. The 313 milliseconds, the 3.7, or the 2.7 is a little out of line. Your overall site speed is a problem. And normally I'd say you're probably okay, except for Google's new algorithm is going to punish heavily on performance. It's all about the user experience and weighted heavily on load times and items like this. So this could really start to hurt you if it hasn't already. So not necessarily, I'm going to include with you a report in this delivery that shows these items. If you're very technical, you can likely handle it yourself. If you're not, be very careful and even consider hiring someone, because if you do it wrong, you could be building your site all over from scratch. It can be that devastating. If you need help, I can't help anymore because of my stroke. I no longer have the fine motor skills, but I do know a guy who can help you up in Toronto. So he can actually help with all of these if you need it. Just give me a call, or not a call. Sorry, just reach out to me on Fiverr, and I can connect you to. All right. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm really excited to take a look when you're done, see what it looks like. Your product seems awesome. It seems like you've really produced some great components. Now we just need to do some fine tuning and tweaking to get it to convert a little better. All right. We'll chat soon. Thank you.